What is good, Ninja? OG over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to the PE Nintendo Switch and gaming news video. Today, we got a lot of that gaming news outside of the Nintendo Switch, but a couple announcements here and there, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Nicalis and Freak Zone Games announced arcade-style side-scroller Night Terrors for the Nintendo Switch. It's due out via the Nintendo eShop on October 24th, so very close to Halloween, and it is Halloween themed. So Nicalis has announced Night Terrors, a horror-themed arcade-style side-scroller developed in collaboration with Freak Zone Games for the Nintendo Switch. It will launch via the Nintendo eShop in both North America and in Europe on October 24th. Here's an overview of the game. Night Terrors depicts the horrifying adventures of a mysterious suit of armor known only as the Knight. Armed with a mighty sword and equipped with blood-red wings that allow flight, the Knight desperately races through the countryside in the darkest of the night, never stopping for any respite or consideration. He must face and vanquish a never-ending onslaught of bloodthirsty ghouls, flaming skulls, and unspeakable horrors, while jumping over spiked pits and flying through small gaps. If he takes 3 hits or allows 3 enemies to pass, it's game over. So you have to destroy everything in front of you, Plants vs. Zombies style or something like that. Night Terrors goes straight for the jugular, engaging players immediately with simple 2-button controls, retina-searing sprite graphics, and frantic neoclassical chiptunes. Special effects like screen shaking and time stopping magnify the impact of every enemy interaction. Once you're hooked, the game keeps pulling you back in with earned power-ups, multiple unlockable game modes, and high-scoring tracking. What's more, the procedurally generated levels ensure unlimited replayability. It's a different game each and every time you play. You guys are checking out the announcement trailer as well, and for those who don't know, I think the people who developed this Freak Zone game, they also developed one of the Angry Video Game Nerd games as well that was in collaboration with Screw Attack, so they do have some experience with those really difficult 2D retro styled games out there, and yeah, so they're coming back with another game here, teaming up with Nicalis this time in order to bring this out. And Nicalis has been a big supporter of the Nintendo Switch. They've been releasing game after game after game. I think this is their 4th or 5th game coming to Nintendo Switch on October 24th. That'll be their 4th or 5th game, something like that. Plus they still have Blade Strangers that's due out this year, so that'll be 5 games that I can count off the top of my head with Cave Story and everything else. I think they just released Tiny Barbarian as well, so they've been cranking out games, whether they're publishing or developing themselves. It's been quite a bit, so shout outs to Nicalis for the support, and there's probably going to be a lot more. They love this system. They say it's really easy to develop for, so they're able to put out games on the system quick, and they're partnering up with some of these other developers as well in order to get titles too. So what do you guys think about this game as far as Night Terrors for the Nintendo Switch? Is this your style of game, especially with the month of Halloween going on? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, and moving on to the next article here. NIS America apologizes for the quality of Ys 8 localization, and the fix is due out by the end of November. So a new translator and editor will go over the entire localization of the game. Now, NIS America President Takuro Yamashita has issued a statement apologizing for the quality of the Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, saying that it has not reached an acceptable level by our own standards, and that a free patch fixing the quality issues is due up by the end of November. Now get the full message below here. So to all the customers of Ys 8, thank you for all the feedback and support we have received since the launch of Ys 8. It has come to my attention that the quality of the Ys 8 localization has not reached an acceptable level by our own standards, but most importantly by yours. As president of NIS America Inc., I want to apologize to you personally for this grave error. This situation should not have happened, especially to a game as wonderful as Ys 8, and by a company that strives to deliver the very best customer experience in each title. We have begun internally to investigate the causes of the situation, as well to implement steps to ensure that a similar situation does not occur. As for the Ys 8 itself, we have a new translator and editor to go over the entire localization to fix grammatical errors, typos, inconsistencies, and also to take a fresh look at the dialogue and characterizations. For the script, where necessary, we will rewrite and retranslate and re-edit the game, including updating voice work to reflect these changes. We plan to have this work done by the end of November and will offer the updated localization free of charge for both the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita versions of the game via patch. The Steam version of the game will include the localization in its initial release. We humbly request your patience in the process. Again, as the president and CEO of NIS America Inc., I deeply apologize and vow to you that we will bring the quality of the localization of Ys 8 up to the high standards that it and you deserve. Please allow us the opportunity to restore your faith in NIS America Inc. Sincerely, Takuro Yamashita. So Ys 8 La Cremosa of Dana launched on the PlayStation 4 and PS Vita in North America on September 12th and in Europe on September 15th. The PC version was originally planned to launch alongside the PlayStation versions, but was delayed to an unannounced date. So this is definitely unfortunate, and I'm sorry to all the people that had to go through this. You're not expecting that from a company like NIS America, who usually does pretty good work, and they haven't had too many issues that I've heard about when it comes to localization. But it just goes to show you that it's not easy work in order to get localization done. You have to make sure that you have the right people on the game, and you can't just brush it over. You can't just try to rush it out in order to make a launch date. You really need to make sure that the localization works and the localization is right. We saw that with Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Nintendo Wii U. That could have had a horrible localization as well, considering all the different dialogue in there, but they took the extra time. Although it took months and months and months, they still took that time in order to get it done. And this time they actually hired magical localization ninjas so that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just launches worldwide. So thank you so much to Nintendo and Monolith Soft for hiring those localization ninjas to make sure that it launches everywhere. Hey guys, we've seen this before, right? There's been times where there's bad localizations all over the place. It's not super common, but it's definitely out there as far as localizations go. I've played a couple of games of localization that's been pretty bad in certain times, and even like big budget games at times too. So what do you guys think about this? Did you play the game and were upset with the localization? It would be nice if they threw in some other stuff in there as well for people having to wait this long. A lot of people probably already beat the game at this point. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, and moving on to the last article here. God Eater 3 has enemies that devour the player to become stronger. Plus, we've got new tidbits from the Weekly Famitsu. So the latest issue of Weekly Famitsu has an interview with God Eater IP general producer Yusuke Tomizawa, general director Hiro Yoshimura, and God Eater 3 producer Yuya Tomiyama on the newly announced God Eater 3. Here's some of the information from the Weekly Famitsu. First, they apologize for the 3-year wait since the release of God Eater 2 Rage Burst. There's no reason to apologize. 3 years is fine if you're trying to create a quality game. After development of God Eater 2 Rage Burst wrapped up, they reconsidered what draws people to God Eater and what players are looking for. By looking at user feedback, they were faced with a situation where that users want is considerably different from the current God Eater. In addition to looking at evolving the series, they explored market potential, including overseas expansion. Both God Eater 2 Rage Burst and God Eater Resurrection were well reviewed overseas. They felt that God Eater 3 should return to the feeling the first felt in God Eater, the good feeling of speedily fighting enemies. God Eater 3 is set after the events of God Eater 2 Rage Burst. The setting of God Eater 3 is the area around the Veneer headquarters. However, the Veneer, I'm probably saying that wrong, headquarters that exists in God Eater 2 Rage Burst has already collapsed. The worldview from previous games has changed considerably, and the positions of the God Eaters have also changed. Development is proceeding with console as a base. It is being developed on the PC, and from there will be moved to console. They're evolving multiplayer to make it more enjoyable to play for the current era. In regards to gameplay outside of the 4-player multiplayer, of 4-person multiplayer is possible. The fields are being completely remade. You can move around seamlessly on the field, and areas are the biggest they have ever been in a God Eater game. Fields feel more expansive than ever. There are many fields with differences in elevation as well. God Eater 3 will have enemies with different properties and abilities from Origami, and these enemies will devour the player. Devoured enemies will enter a strengthened state, leaving the player in a critical situation. Up until now, the games were made up of gods and mankind, but this is vague, and the protagonist of the game who wore shackles on each of his hands. There's a feeling of gods devouring each other. In addition to dual-wielding god arcs, new god arcs different from previous systems will also appear. Outside of that, the game will also incorporate new elements in order to face against formidable enemies. The smartphone RPG God Eater Resonant Ops is set between God Eater 2 Rage Burst and God Eater 3, but that doesn't mean you won't be able to understand God Eater 3 without playing it. Development is currently 30% complete so far. So if you're looking at what this game is going to be about, there you go. You got a lot of information, and there's a ton of God Eater games already available for you to play at really cheap prices on PlayStation 4, PS Vita. I think there's even some on PS3 as well if you don't have a PS4 or PS Vita. But I do want to talk about this just a little bit because they said they're developing it as console, as a base. So it's going to be developed on PC, then console as a base, then moved over to console. So I'm wondering what it's going to be on. Obviously, it's going to be on PlayStation 4. I think we all know PlayStation 4 is going to get this game, but it's going to be interesting if Bandai Namco continues their kind of weirdish, I wouldn't say weird, but support of Xbox One with a lot of their multi-platform games, because this game is 30% and you're looking at the sales in Japan, and yeah, they're pretty bad. And this game didn't necessarily release on the Xbox here in North America or in Europe. So is it going to be PlayStation 4 only? Are they going to go with the PS Vita? Doesn't seem like it based on what he said as far as PC as a base that moved to consoles. Not the PS Vita. So I'm wondering if it's going to be PS4 and also the Nintendo Switch. They didn't give any type of platforms for this. Bandai Namco seems to do this quite a bit, where they just announce a game and there's no platforms and then later they talk about it. So we'll see if it actually comes over to Nintendo Switch. We'll see what systems it goes onto, but based on what Bandai Namco has done so far, I'm not too confident, but I would not be surprised if it ended up being on the Switch, since this is only 30% complete in development and there's plenty of time for it to come to Nintendo Switch, because it seems like it's going to be like a 2019 game or a very late 2018 game. So I think that there's time to bring it over. So we'll see if it actually happens, or let's just say it might be a PS4 exclusive. Who knows at this point? So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And are you excited for God Eater 3? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Alright, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the interwebs in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon page. Pledge any tier, be entered to win some awesome prizes. In addition to that, we have Discord voice chat and prized eShop tournaments. Also, make sure you check out our brand new YouTube live gaming page. Consider sponsoring PlayerEssence. When you do so, it works just like Twitch, to where you can earn emotes for the chat. Plus, you can also get on my friends list in order to participate in tournaments. So check out the link in the description below and consider sponsoring PlayerEssence on YouTube Gaming Live. Also, make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.